Hi, I'm Max Hurd, and this is How I Live with Style. So I'm standing in front of one of the most important pieces in the house. It's this painting that came from my childhood home in Brazil. It is a rather large painting, and when I was looking at houses in the area, it's quite hard to find a London terraced house with enough wall space to hang a painting of this size. We looked at quite a few properties, and eventually when my sister and I came to look at this place, we walked in with a measuring tape and I immediately fell in love without having seen the rest of the house. It's a very special piece to me because it reminds me of a very happy childhood I spent in Brazil. And actually I can show you here. Here it is hanging at our house in Brazil. Here's me and my two sisters and my brother in 1997 in front of the painting, in a much more innocent era. But come through to the kitchen. So this is the kitchen, the heart of the home. But when I first moved into the house, I was slightly overwhelmed by the amount of decisions I had to make. And so I drafted in my great friend Benedict Foley, who is a kind of creative genius and frame maker. And you'll see a lot of his frames dotted throughout the house as we move around the space. I have a kind of allergic reaction to anything too practical, which is why you don't see any appliances or anything in here. They're all hidden carefully away in the little artist nook, which is next door. And then we use this Colfax kitchen curtain to cover the dishwasher. We also added these really amazing crenellations to the top of the cupboards, which were designed by Benedict. Oh, and here we have my darling Ivana, who sadly is no longer with us. She was a particularly beautiful long-haired chihuahua who was a huge part of my growing up and eventually sort of coming out process, really. She was amazing and helped me massively embrace the sort of queer side of myself that I'd denied for so long. Having a tiny, tiny ball of fluff as a dog, you really had to develop a bit of a thick skin. She was named after Ivana Trump, which sounds ridiculous, but I was obsessed with the film The First Wives Club, and there's an iconic scene at the end when the three girls run up to Ivana Trump and go, "Ivana, what advice would you give three recently divorced women?" And she goes, "Darling, don't get mad, get everything." And I just remember thinking that was like the most iconic line I'd ever heard. So when the tiny ball of fluff arrived, she got the very big name. And over here we have my magnum opus, which I am still seething. I only got a B for in my GCSE art. This incredibly random shelf we didn't really know what to do with for ages because it was originally a spice rack. I think I have salt and pepper and paprika, and that's it. So it didn't really serve a purpose for me. So we decided to turn it into this kind of pinboard thing. And yeah, various mementos from trips. Here's the four of us again as Power Rangers. I was obviously enjoying more of a sort of Spice Girls-esque dance routine in the background there. Oh, of course, my wand. This was on my seat at a birthday party I went to, and it was my friend India's 30th, and she had wands made for all of us. It was one of the most incredible parties I've ever been to, and not just because I love Harry Potter. So I'm very grateful to her for this wand, which now lives pride of place here, in case anyone pisses me off and I need to Avada Kedavra them. Here we have my dining room table, which I love and was my 30th birthday present from my dad. I love having friends around. I love this place being rammed full of the people that I care about. I mean, the most recent dinner party I had was in between Christmas and New Year, which I do every year, and I call it Gay Christmas. And it's an opportunity for lots of my queer friends to come round and kind of share horror stories about their traumatic Christmases with their parents and their families, and we always have a really good time. You can see there's quite a few red wine stains here left over from she who must not be named, I won't mention her. I love being surrounded by the people I love, as I said, and I love being surrounded by their work, which is why you'll see throughout the house examples of the people that I care about, like creativity. I mean, in here, for example, we have these beautiful plates by Gavin Houghton, who is a ceramicist and interior decorator. And I fell in love with his plates, and then I fell in love with him. He's just a fantastic human being. And then the frames, which you can see here and over there, are by Benedict as well, and they are a fantastic way of just immortalizing important things to me. Like this drawing was done by one of my best friends, and up here is a photograph of me and another group of my best friends just as lockdown was ending. It was the first time we could all be together. So it was very important to me to immortalize that and have it somewhere that I could be, reminded of them all the time, which is really nice. Through here is the drawing room. Over here we have my collection of glassware. I love things that serve zero purpose but look absolutely stunning whilst doing so. Like this tiny little glass which, if you were really thirsty for one drop of wine, might be useful, but apart from that, serves no purpose. And that lives there next to this little jug that my sister made for me, which I love as well, which I put my candlesticks in. And of course my little pot here, which my friend gave me. It's an Oscar Wilde pot for pills because she knows I love Oscar Wilde. So that lives there. And my lushes who live up here, they are a collection of porcelain figures that used to be on a mantelpiece in a much grander house than this, at my granny's house just outside Reading. And they are, I think they're absolutely hilarious and again serve zero purpose apart from looking fabulous. And they now preside over the debauchery that goes on in this drawing room. So this room is what I rather grandly call my library. The only reason I'm allowed to call it that is, I guess, because I have a couple of books on the shelf. I love this room. I think it's an incredibly calming space. The colour's fantastic, I think. This is definitely my favourite room in the house. I just think it's such a nice space to unwind. This picture of me and my dad is from the first ever Bowden catalogue. Johnny Bowden lived with my parents at university and drafted in my dad and I. And when they did the second version of the catalogue, they actually had to print a disclaimer in the back of the issue, which just simply said, to all the women writing in about the model on page 64, he is in fact married. So basically, please stop harassing us. And I think that's really sweet. So he lives there. Slightly less sweet is my great aunt, who we see up here. When I did put her up here, my granny came round and then she saw this and she went, oh, auntie. God, she was a bit of a nymphomaniac. She used to Roger all the staff. And I thought that was kind of brilliant. So my nymphomaniac great aunt stays up there, pride of place, looking down on us all, looking very, very seductive and sultry. Over here we have the Ludwig wall. So Ludwig II of Bavaria is one of my favourite historical characters. He was this kind of slightly insane last king of Bavaria who spent the entire country's budget on building these incredible castles. I've been obsessed with him for a long time, and so we cut out this book and made this incredible montage, which I love. And then over here we have this mirror. I was very impatient and sending sort of 100 links to mirrors every single day, and he was going, Benedict was going, no, we'll find the right one, we'll find the right one, we'll have the right one with the right amount of foxing, the right shape, the right era. And eventually he showed me this one from Alma Antiques and I just fell in love with it instantly, and the minute it went up I knew he was completely right to have made me wait. Oh, before we go upstairs we should take a minute to appreciate this stair runner and carpet. It is a collaboration between Dale Chihuahua and the Rug Company. Dale Chihuahua is one of my favourite artists. When I saw it I just knew we had to have it in the house because the colours match the scheme so perfectly. When I first showed Benedict, the only reservation he had was that it wasn't the most practical of things, bearing in mind, you know, I have a very fluffy cat and the house is always full of drunk queens, so he knew that the carpet would take a bit of a pounding over the years. But come on upstairs and I'll show you the rest of the house. So this is my bedroom. It was originally going to be a red and white striped room, and then I remember reading in my favourite book, The Picture of Dorian Gray, he gets corrupted by another book, the Yellow Book, and in real life it's called Against Nature. And it's a great book about this kind of decrepit French aristocrat who retreats from civilization to go and live in a hut somewhere, and the only colour that his very delicate eyes can stomach is orange. So we ended up swapping the red and white stripe that we originally had planned for this amazing Farrenball tent stripe, which is in a really nice orange. But I love how kind of playful and fun the Colfax squiggle fabric is, and mixed with the shell motifs that we have not only above the bed here, but also on the actual headboard, which was painted by my great friend Queenie it's a great bedroom to relax in. Lots of people come in and think it looks quite crazy, and lots of people come in and say it looks quite crazy and mad, but actually when you take the colours away, and if you see this this room in black and white, it's actually a very traditional sort of English country house bedroom. So this is the top room in the house. It's very much the kind of cherry on top of the cake. We didn't want to run out of steam, so we thought we'd go out with a bang, which is why we decided to kind of go bold with the colours. It's inspired by a swimming pool by Ivana in Hamburg, lots of reds and purples and blues. The fabric that you see here is by Viola Linari, who's a fantastic friend of mine and also a fantastic fabric maker and lampshade maker, which are the ones you see here and here. I think the colours and the fact that it's at the top of the house and the low ceilings does make it feel quite naughty. I mean, we've always kind of pegged it as the sort of sex room, but I think I overestimated my own libido because there has been very little sex happening up here. We tend to use it more for after dinner drinks and games, and then there's been several friends passed out on the floor and on various parts of the room. Thank you very much for joining me on this tour of my house. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please don't forget to subscribe to the Sunday Times YouTube channel. Yeah, cheers, thanks. Oh, that's good, fuck. I'm quite like, right, you can all leave now.